been going through music trying to find a good intro. Had a feeling about this one. Yeah, I've been recording myself for like 10 minutes just listening to music. I think this is the intro right here. It's really hard to find good copyright music. I spend like 90% of my time looking for music and editing thumbnails. The actual content, that's the easy part. We're just gonna let this thing play. What's up, everybody? I don't know if I said that. What's up, summoners? Excuse me, that's my official intro. Speaking of intro, before I forget, what'd you guys think of the starting intro to all this? It was very professional looking, I will tell you. Jimmy D. Rock, way back in the day, we're talking like 4 years ago, probably 3.5 years ago, made that logo for me that I use on I use it on my Twitter handle and some other stuff. But yeah, out of the blue, get a message from, let's see, how did it come? It came to me from B Manny, who received it from Taters, who received it from a buddy of his in an alliance. I don't know. Not sure what the connection is there, but yeah, got a random message with that animation. And the guy was just being super kind and helpful and said, hey, if you ever need anything, I do this for a living and would be happy to help you out. So I don't know if he wanted a shout out, if he wants me to call his name out, or if he wants to remain anonymous, but I certainly appreciate all the kind words he had to say and the effort that he put into that. So I added the audio to it. I think it feels a little too dramatic, I think, but I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Today's video, oh my gosh, I'm like everywhere. So believe it or not, today's Monday. It's actually midnight. What is it? No, it's 11:30, excuse me. Monday night, 11:30. This is the third or fourth time that I have attempted to record this video. I recorded it over the weekend, but it ended up being like a 30-minute video, so I re-recorded it and screwed up the audio. So now here I am again, trying to record it and consolidate it, and I'm off to a bad start. We're probably like 10 minutes into this video already. So the purpose of today's video, let's just get right to it. And I've actually got some notes for myself, believe it or not. So I got a bunch of messages over the last weekish since I've been back, 2 weeks, whatever, saying, hey, just came back to the game myself, and so much has changed. Would you be able to do like a brief overview of the important things to be aware of as we get back into the game? And I thought that was a pretty good idea, to be honest with you, because I really could benefit from spending some time going through the game. How about that? So yeah, this helps me. Hopefully it'll be a help to you. I realize that probably like 98% of my audience, this will not benefit at all. But the one thing you could help with is if I end up missing something that you guys think is like, hey, this is really important for a player getting back into the game. Yeah, please leave that down in the comment section below. Would greatly appreciate that. You can also find the link to the music that I'm using in the video and the intro in the description as well. So let's get into it. I've got probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 things here to look at, which again, I'm going to miss something, so please don't scream and yell at me. The first thing, which I think is fairly obvious, you got to get yourself into an alliance. There are so many ways to get into an alliance now that really it shouldn't be that difficult for you. But there's just so many resources that are only available to you if you are part of an alliance, whether it be through Alliance War, Alliance Quest, alliance-specific events that go on where there's rewards tied into that you just can't get a hold of unless you're part of an alliance. There's a lot of open alliances. If you're brand new to the game or just coming back in, you want to hop right into an alliance. There's a lot of open alliances you can jump into. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but if worst case comes, you could do that for the time being. But if you get yourself on Reddit, get yourself on the official Kabam forums, jump into any one of the live streams and say, hey, this is what this is my prestige, this is what I'm looking to do. Probably pretty easily find yourself a pretty good fit. So get yourself into an alliance. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that one. Number 2, which this, again, This is something that I am doing. I'm not telling you you have to do it by any means, but the Summoner Sigil is a monthly paid benefit that kind of wraps up a couple of different things that I think is a huge benefit to new or returning players. I could see where if you've been in the game for a long time, you're an end-game player, this might not have like a huge draw to you. But as part of the Sigil, which let me jump in here, there is a solo event that goes on that's on a 7-day timer. There's really good rewards that are a part of that. It's really, really easy to get those rewards. So that just reset, I believe, today. I really haven't played the game all that much, and I'm already like more than halfway through the event. So there's a whole bunch of resources, and you can see how you get your points. It's real easy to do. So when you're jumping back into the game, just grab an extra units, energy refills, ISO. You're going to need tons of ISO. That's all tied up in that solo event. There is a gold event. You get 125,000 gold for defeating a gold pool, which takes like 2 seconds. That, I believe, is on a weekly timer as well. There's a couple other benefits to this, larger inventory slots. I'm not going to take the time to read through this. You can read through this yourself. But the one thing that I really wanted to point out to you is there is a black ISO store that's available to the Summoner Sigil folks, which, depending upon where you're at in the game, if you've unlocked Cavalier, you probably haven't unlocked Thronebreaker yet, but depending upon where you're at in the game, will allow you to open different things depending upon how far you are. But you can see if you scroll down here, which I'm so confused. I'm on my iPad. It's a different layout than my phone, which I normally play on, so excuse me. But things like the Tier 1 Alpha, the Tier 2 Alpha, you're going to need as many of those as you can possibly get. And those are not like the easiest things to get a hold of, especially the Tier 2 Alpha. So you can trade in resources that you have in abundance for things like that. There's also a featured 5-star crystal for 11,000 units. If you're Thronebreaker, there's probably, you probably know all of this stuff, but there is a featured 6-star for 13. But for my benefit, I'm going to grab that featured 5-star every single time at only 11,000 units. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. By no means do you have to do that. I understand. I think it's $9.99. $10. Maybe nothing to some people, maybe a lot to others. If it's something you can afford, great. I'll probably hang on to it for a couple of months as I get back into the game, and then probably drop it here after a couple months. So anyway, I think there's a lot of benefit for new or returning players. Let me go down through my list here. Number 3. So the variant content, when I was playing the game, so 3+ years ago, the variants were not in the game. There are currently 6 of them that are available. They're really in 2 separate categories. So the 4 that you see here on the screen, from Waning Moon over to Ultron's Assault, those were the 4 kind of original variants that came out. Variant isn't like the actual name for it. It's going to drive me nuts. Back issues. There it is. Those first 4 were the initial back issues, 1, 2, 3, and 4 that came out. They all basically share the same reward pool across them. The rewards, they're not bad, but the amount of time and effort that you have to put into them, it pales in comparison basically to the rewards that have come out for the last 2 back issues. So Variant 5 and Variant 6, Blood and Venom and Contamination. All I'm trying to say is get into the variants and focus on number 5 and number 6, those 2 on the far left, because the rewards that you get for those far exceed the rewards that you get for doing variants 1 through 4. You can see instead of getting a fully formed basic 5-star, they give you 10,000 shards, which you can then put towards a featured or whatever you want to do. There's more 6-star shards. There's a fully formed T5 basic, and I think almost more important than all of that for returning players is there's a full 4 to 5 rank up gem that's in there. It's random, but if you're coming back to the game, you could probably use just about anything that pops out of there. I point that out just because the first 4 variants, if you look in the rewards, I'm just talking about the completion here as well. It's only a 3 to 4, which it is a benefit in the long run. You want to get as many gems as you can. When you're ranking up your 5 stars, use the gems as much as you can and hang on to the hard resources for the 6 stars, because that's really where the game is heading. So don't get me wrong, those are good rewards, but all I'm trying to say is when you're getting back into the game, these last 2 variants are really pretty easy to get through for the amount of resources that are involved with them. Contamination is based on villains. Blood and Venom is based on Mystic characters and Spider-Verse characters. So if you're coming back into the game, haven't touched any of these, really focus on those 2 before you jump into the other ones. a quick note. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on this. Kabam, 3 years ago, refreshes were really not a thing. I'm trying to think if there were really any major refreshes that took place. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I'm sure there were, somebody that I'm missing. But since that time, and especially within like the last, I would say maybe year and a half, seems like, Kabam has put a lot of resources and time into refreshing and buffing the old characters. So the only reason I point this out is a lot of the old characters that you probably have sitting in your roster that you may have never touched. A lot of those have gotten buffed, have gotten reworked, and some of them are like the best characters in the game now. We're talking Magneto, we're talking Colossus, and then there's a whole bunch. Ooh, smack my mic again. I'm sorry. A whole bunch of characters kind of below them as far as tier go that are still way better than they used to be. Talking like Hulkbuster, Venom, Punisher 2099. Gambit and Falcon. Falcon's a really good player. Gambit's way easier to use now. Then there's upcoming buffs for Terax, Kingpin, Yellowjacket. The only point I'm trying to make with this, and I'll make it very briefly, go back in your roster, look through those characters. If you have any of those, make sure you get on YouTube and watch videos. A lot of those have been refreshed, and they're no longer arena fodder and point getters in the arena. You can actually rank up and use those characters. Kind of following up with that point as far as refreshes go, if you were, because 3 years ago, like I was just getting into Act 6, that content had just come out. I know a lot of Act 6, if not all of it, has been refreshed at this point. It's been tuned back a little bit. So if maybe you were stuck in that or you were struggling with that some time ago, if you haven't touched it since the refresh, jump back in there. I myself, I just got through 6.2, I believe. Is that where I'm at? Yeah. Just came through 6.2. The champion boss was retuned. I really didn't watch any videos on that, to be honest with you, and I got through that almost with, I think, like 2 or 3 revives first time. Really was not that difficult. So definitely get back in. If you were struggling with that with Act 6, jump back in, give it another shot. I think you'll find it much easier now to get through. Monthly event quests have also changed. So I'm actually running, I'm running through one right now. I don't think I'm that far into it. Man, I really want to... I'll go ahead and back out of this just so I can show you guys. That's how much I love you! I don't know where that came from. So if you go and look... So Uncollected used to be the highest difficulty of the monthly event quests. So that used to cap out the rewards. Just so that you are aware, there is now a new difficulty. Cavalier is now the top difficulty. What I would focus on, what I'm doing, and if you're in a similar situation, similar roster to me, Uncollected is still really easy to get through. It's just a matter of do you have enough energy to get through it, because it's really not hard at all. But there really are pretty good rewards that are tied into this. Obviously, there's crystal shards. There's a bunch of tier 2 alpha that's tied into this. And then for completion and exploration of each chapter, there's good rewards. So get yourself into Uncollected. If you're coming back into the game, blow through that as normal. And then if you can get yourself into Cavalier, which is going to be a step up, depending upon where your roster is at as far as difficulty goes, there are really good rewards just for completion. So if you can get yourself through Uncollected and you still have a couple of days or a week or 2 or whatever left in the month before it resets and goes to the next event, maybe really consider getting yourself into Cavalier if you're not trying to push through Variant or something like that. Let's see here. God, this video is going to be so long. Let me touch real quick on arenas. As far as the resource arena goes, when I was playing back in the day, I believe it was 10,000 battle chips to get yourself into the T1 Alpha arena, the T4 class Catalyst arena, T4 basic arena. I think I got all that. So I don't think there's anyone running right now. Yeah, there used to be a pretty hefty requirement to get into that. That is no longer the case. You can jump right into the T1 Alpha, the T4 Basic Catalyst arena, and I would highly recommend, again, if you're coming back to the game, you may not have a big stack of that of those resources, so get yourself into those basic arenas. There's a lot of arenas that are available as well if you're needing units, which you're going to need units. You get them through battle chips. You're going to need the crystal shards to get the ISO from the crystals. Get yourself into the arena. Again, it's kind of similar to alliances. It pretty much goes without saying. I just wanted to touch on that on the resources arena, because that for me had changed. So make sure you get into that. Then 2 real quick things I want to point out. that have changed for the better. If you are targeting a certain character or a certain class, let's say you've got a ton of mutants and skill and tech, and you're trying to focus on the other 3 classes, there's 2 ways you can do that now. Dual class crystals have come out. I don't want to say recently, but probably I think within like the last year they've come out. Maybe even like 6-8 months, something like that. But it's on a timer, so there's 3 of them. You've got your mutant skill, you've got your cosmic tech, and then obviously, as you can see here, you have your science and mystic. So like I said, it's much, much easier if you're looking for a specific class. Obviously, you can pick the class that you need, and then more importantly, if there's a specific characters you're looking for, if you need 3 or 4, these are really, really good value in my opinion. The other way that you can do this, I've never even run an incursions. I'm not going to get really into what that is, but that's an event you can run with a friend. You get artifacts from running incursions. You can use those artifacts then to pick specific crystals, which I believe there are 10 characters per crystal. So if I just pick a random 5-star crystal here, this Nightmare crystal, I have no idea who's in it. So we've got Symbiote Supreme, Wolverine, Storm Pyramid X, blah, blah, blah. You can see there. So if I'm looking for specifically, I need... let's say Kingpin's update comes out here next month, and he's a banger. I don't have him. You can try to get him out of one of these crystals, and you have a 10% chance. So that's probably even a higher chance. Yeah, it is a higher chance than like the mutant and skill crystals. So you won't be able to pull as many of these because the artifacts, I don't think, flow quite as quickly as a regular 5-star crystal shards do. But again, just be aware, if you're trying to build your roster, there's 2 ways that you can really target classes and specific characters. Now, the last thing that I do want to point out, I'm sorry for scratching my nose. My nose kind of... You're welcome. My nose kind of itches. Last thing I want to point out, let me jump over to... Yep, right there. So Aunt May is an excellent resource. I cannot stress that enough. I wish this was around 3 years ago when I was making contents and researching characters and making videos, because it would have been so easy to just jump in and click on a character and have all the info instead of jumping into the game. Essentially, I mean, any information that you need is right at your fingertips. You can obviously see every single character is alphabetized here, but you can break it all down by individual class. Within the class, you can break it down by attack, tags, prestige, when they came out. I mean, there's just a million different ways you can do it. You can have multiple classes, and then if you want to click on an individual character, obviously it opens up all the information that you'd have in the info screen in the game. It's got signature ability. I just think it's a little bit easier because you have more info on the screen, just less time to scroll through everything than in the game. But I think more importantly than any of that is all of the synergies, not only the synergies that specific character has on them, but any synergies that they are a part of with another character are all listed here. And trying to find synergies like Archangel, for instance, if I didn't know what other characters had synergies with Archangel, it would take forever to individually go through them. So you can find all that information right here at just a click, which is really, really helpful. Yeah, Aunt May, I have found myself there multiple times whenever I'm playing the game, trying to learn characters, learn different things. It's such a good resource. I wish I would have looked this up before I turned the camera on. I know I don't even want to say the name because if I get it wrong, I'm going to sound stupid. I'll have all of this linked in the description down below. I'm sure you're all aware of it, but again, if you're a new player coming back and haven't checked it out, I'll have the link there for you to click on. Make sure you save that in your favorites tab and go back to it often. Okay, I think I made that under 20 minutes, barely. Yeah, my phone says 1938. So really didn't end up being that much shorter than the original video, but anyway, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I know this isn't a benefit to a lot of you out there, but it's certainly a benefit to me having to go through the game. And hopefully, if you've just jumped back in, the first question is, why? Why have you come back? I can't answer that for myself, actually. You should be running away from the game, not coming back. But if you are back, a lot has changed, and hopefully this has been a good starting place for you. All right, guys, I'm gonna peace out of here. Listen to a little bit more music. Maybe there'll be something I can click on real quick here. Does that sound like a good outro? I think it does. All right, guys. Appreciate it, as always, the kind words, the support, everything that you guys have given me over the years. Can't thank you guys enough. If you'd like to follow me down in the description below, you'll find my Twitter. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, down in the description below, you'll find the link over there. Post random videos from time to time, just silly stuff, whatever's going on in my life, going on in the game. And also you'll know when I post videos because I give you the link in the thumbnail and everything there at the exact same time. So, love you guys. Glad to be back. We're waiting on Papa Musk, as I said last night in Brian's stream, to drop a sweet, sweet satellite in Southern Illinois. When that happens, we'll be back live streaming. But until then, make sure you sub to the channel. Give the video a like or dislike. Frankly, I don't care.